Welcome. My name is Christopher Peter. The life lessons that we learn with the least cost are the ones we glean from the experiences of other people. Lessons we see from those around us that we either realize the need to emulate to advance our own interests or outcomes, or mistakes that others make that we see the consequences and decide that their path is not the road we want to go down. There is no official roadmap in life. Generally, we are cultured to do well in school, advance our skill set through college, trade school, or the pursuit of advanced degrees. But you can take the obvious, the predictable path and may not get the same result that you were hoping for or match the success that others have. Many of these help improve the odds of success or at least allow you to obtain a stable, self-reliant future. Sometimes just knowing you are not going to lose your job is not the same as wanting to be the best at what you do or stand out from the crowd. We may know that our performance is good, but how can we turn good into something great? Sometimes, we may know the theories and the fundamental skills of our field, but need inspiration to be seen as an innovator or change agent, where the growth, financial windfalls may land, or at least the ability to advance to the next stage. We are all taught at a very young age that being a lifelong learner is admirable or something that people seek. But are we really learning new ideas all the time or just reinforcing what we already know? Many times I try to find inspiration for whatever I am doing outside of the environment that exists. Not talking about a multiverse approach, but just extracting lessons from different environments to apply it where I need it. In this initial episode of the reboot of the series, I'm going to discuss how we can apply some lessons from the world of sports by looking at traits from the greats in the respective fields. In my lifetime, I have seen all of the major records in sports fall. The biggest record that fell was undoubtedly the all-time record formerly held by the late all-time great Henry Hank Aaron of 755, which was broken by Barry Bonds of the San Francisco Giants. This was in the late summer of 2007. 2 years ago, LeBron James broke the long-held scoring record previously held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 2 weeks ago, we experiencing the record that many thought would never be broken or even approached, which was the all-time goals record previously held by Wayne Gretzky and now held by Alexander Ovechkin. The NFL passing records in touchdowns has recently been set by Tom Brady, who passed Peyton Manning, who passed Brett Favre, who passed Dan Marino, all of which happened not that long ago, but fun to watch nonetheless. Jerry Rice's records are still safe for now, as no wide receiver has been able to receive for more touchdowns or total receiving yards, seemingly due to the inability to enjoy the lengthy career that Rice had with 3 different teams during his historic career. That said, what is the lesson that we could learn from these great career achievements by standout Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers? I would glean from them the need to have persistence, prolonged dedication to a craft, and consistency. All of these players who achieved these records not only enjoyed long careers, but remained productive and consistent. In our society, there are so many people who want to find a shortcut, an easy way to bypass the effort, or a way to cut the line. The work smarter not harder mentality, which is not a bad one. If you can be more efficient and effective, that is a good thing. But sometimes the rush to circumvent the process can sell yourself short because of the needed experiences that help ensure you deliver consistent quality and productivity. I have seen people master the art of being visible, despite not being the most productive or best performer in the group. Many have successfully navigated the get the job now and learn it later by being visible and then strategically leaving when close to being close to exposure. Some have experienced bouts of imposter syndrome as they pushed up only to find a level where doubt creeped in. In many fields, it does make sense to try to condense the climb as short as possible to maximize the period of reaping the benefits or being able to retire early. Not judging these individuals. My point really is that what I see in many new hires recently is that there is frustration when processes do not provide the instant gratification that many people seek nowadays. There is a need to always understand the long-term goals while making decisions in the short term. Whether you are navigating a career in corporate America, academia, government, or entrepreneurship, there are certain steps you cannot always rush through, and sometimes there are time frames that may differ for one person to another. The toll it takes on the mental health of some people is quite significant because everyone wants to be the first one to say they reached the top of the ecosystems. Speaking of records, we just watched the Super Bowl winning running back, Saquon Barkley, from my Philadelphia Eagles set the all-time record for total yards from scrimmage by a running back. Although he did not break the rush yards record, as the Eagles rested him as they prepared for their Super Bowl run. The season really was a great one that went as great for Barkley and the Eagles could have reasonably hoped for. Not many free agent signings come with the expectation that the player will immediately become a top contender for the Most Valuable Player award, on pace to potentially break a record in the first year of the contract, and become the driving force for a Super Bowl victory. That checks more than enough boxes to deem the signing a success. I saw a clip on social media of what I believe was hosts from a New York radio station saying that after the season, they have a hard time not associating Barkley with the Eagles rather than a former Giant who now plays for the Eagles. The season completely clouded the fact that the Giants had him for the first 6 seasons, and those did not look anything like this one. There were many iconic runs this year by Barkley, but the most iconic moment is still going to be ones from the Hard Knocks offseason, which unfortunately showed too much insight on what the Giants were thinking when they had the tasks of trying to retain Barkley. I still love to see the comments from John Mara talk about losing sleep and Joe Shen trying to reason that an underperforming quarterback is more valuable than a star running back. Decision-making is important. Great players tend to make good decisions, sometimes not so good decisions, but choosing the right team to sign with in free agency, choosing the leave or remain can make a major difference. Finding the right fit, sacrificing personal financial benefit for greater future gains. Think about Mekhi Becton's future following his decision to come to the Eagles following his underwhelming stay with the New York Jets. How his career completely turned around within 1 year and he is now forever a champion. The decision to find the right environment to fix the issues holding you back and having the humility to do so. Decision-making matters. Remember back when LeBron James understood the need to try to learn how to lead a team to compete at the highest stages of the NBA? It was controversial in the sense of how he chose to go about it, despite there being a good charitable moment that is completely overlooked by the raw emotions of the fan reaction. Especially when you came into the league with great expectations and many had attached prescribed notions of how his career needs to go. But to realize that there is a need to change the environment and see what another environment that has achieved what he hopes to achieve goes about their business was a good high-stake decision. One that paid off not only for Miami but eventually for Cleveland as well. The long-term and short-term aligned nicely. Not every great player came into their rookie season destined to make the Hall of Fame. Many might not have been destined to even make the team's roster. Tom Brady was the 199th player drafted in his draft class, yet there are not anywhere close to 198 players ahead of him now. Being drafted in the 6th round is not a surefire way of making an NFL roster, but the hard work and dedication of the craft of playing the hardest position in all of sports led to the greatest ascension of any player in football history. And this is an inspiring story of being able to take the talent that everyone overlooked multiple times and achieve success that no one will ever overlook. Where you start off in life is largely outside of your control. You do not control the environments that you are placed in, but you control the choices, actions, and attitudes that will influence whether you can make it out into a better place. As I said in my episode, The Worker, you always have agency. There are number 1 overall quarterbacks who started off in a better place than Brady did who are not seen as complete busts. Just like others will start off in better environments and more privileged positions than you. It does not matter. You can overcome your situation, which is something that some do not want you to accept, because it diminishes their power over you. As I mentioned a bit ago, people want shortcuts or easier paths. For some people, that is perceived by them as an issue. For others, they see it as innovative. But there is no real skipping the hard work and effort needed to succeed or to create the space to exist. The hard work required to identify the shortcut and make it deliver the same result is real. So, learn from the greats that hard work pays off and that you can elevate yourself to be a better version through hard work. You can go from being overlooked to in high demand if you apply yourself and create a market for your unique skills and experience. A great weekend of sports. The playoffs for both the NBA and the NHL have begun. The world of sports entertainment had its pinnacle event in WrestleMania 41. And the focus of American sports fans will be on the town of Green Bay as it hosts the NFL Draft, as the draft has another stop in the NFC North. Despite me not being a big fan of the Packers as they are leading the baseless attack on the featured play of my Philadelphia Eagles, the organization once was home to men bold enough to face adversity and prevail, as it is commonly known as Titletown when you factor in the NFL championships and Super Bowl wins. Last year, there were many quarterbacks who found home during the first round. I believe a draft record. This year is expected to be the exact opposite. Besides Cam Ward, there are not many known landing spots for the few talents that are seen as potential starters in the league. Teams who one would expect to be in the market for a quarterback seem to be making other arrangements. The Browns seem like they may add non-quarterback talent following their trade for Kenny Pickett and signing Joe Flacco. Could they be the team that drafts Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter? We will see in a couple of days. The Giants seem like a good fit to select whichever is not picked by the Browns. They will trust in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston for the upcoming year and may clean house completely if it does not pan out. Looking forward to see all the picks and what trades are made. For my Eagles, I just hope we can add to our depth. The great aspect of Howie Roseman's stewardship of the roster is that there is rarely a draft that we enter where we are desperate for having to hit on a particular position. Sure, there are positions of need, but our front office usually has a succession plan that gives them flexibility to have the replacements for free agents already on the roster. Fans appreciate the hard work and decision-making it took to build a resilient team that persevered this past season to win our second Lombardi. Hopefully we can add talent that can help us compete for more in the near future. Now, basketball fans are seeing who will be the next champion, as winning back-to-back titles has all of a sudden become a difficult thing in a sport that used to be dominated by dynasties. The Celtics are still formidable, but the team that they beat did not make the playoffs, following a controversial trade of their best player and generational superstar. The bet did not pay off, and even if the Lakers do not make it out of the first round, they still are set for the future and won this trade hands down. The Lakers are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who won the first game pretty handily, and probably have a better team than the Lakers as currently constructed. But the Lakers have really played well since the trade despite their lack of size since shipping Anthony Davis to Dallas in the trade. Another team that revitalized their fortunes with a trade was the Golden State Warriors, who were a play-in team, but are playing so much better since that acquisition of Jimmy Butler. Would not be really surprised if they advance or have a long run this year. As long as Curry stays healthy, it would not make sense to count them out. I think the East will come down to the Cavs and the Celtics. Both are poised to face each other, but the Celtics are built for the long haul and their experience should elevate if they face each other. The Cavs look like the best team in the East, but we have seen that story before. That series would be highly entertaining. There is nothing like playoff hockey, and unfortunately there are some early matchups in the first round that really should be later round battles. The Colorado Avalanche face the Dallas Stars, but records matter. Interesting to see how well the playoffs will be rated without key teams in the field this year. No Boston, Detroit, Philly, Pittsburgh, or New York team in the field. Big hockey towns. The sport is great, but usually these markets bring in the casual fans. Seeing Alexander Ovechkin pursuing his second cup and extending his goal record is entertaining enough for me to watch the games. The biggest sports entertainment company had its featured event, WrestleMania, in Las Vegas. Clearly, the energy was not as strong as it was in Philly the year before. Like every year, there are many moments, but this year was a down year in the minds of some. But you have to appreciate the storytelling they are doing as legendary pro wrestler John Cena ends his career this year, following his heel turn. The most reliable live content on television and now streaming continues to push how entertainment is helping to shape the potential for how sports is delivered. While it is scripted entertainment, there is something to glean from this weekly production that delivers original content 52 weeks a year to a global audience that is loyal around the world, especially since this was an event broadcasted around the world at the same time. As football and basketball incorporate streaming into their media portfolios, they can see the potential to connect global audiences all at the same time without having to rebroadcast or syndicate to match time zones. While these leagues have off-seasons, they can use this time to find new ways to incorporate lessons from this space in their media strategies going forward. A big thank you to the audience for experiencing this podcast. The Christopher Peter Review, your source for an economic perspective on salient current events. Please continue to visit the Christopher Peter Review at www.crcreview.com for more, or subscribe on YouTube. Thank you again and talk to you next time.